Yeah, thank you very much. Uh, Once again, we are gathered here to receive uh, uh, Honorable Shure, our able comrade. He will soon be in the studio with us. Uh, we will be able to hear a lot, and I'm sure he's got a lot to tell. You know, uh, let's wait a while, and we shall be receiving him in the studio. For those of us that are already joining the studio, I beg we wait a bit. He will be with us in just 5 minutes, and we can have the opportunity to ask him our questions and speak with Comrade Omoyele SOWORE, uh, the aspirant. Uh, do I say for the next 2023 presidential election in Nigeria? An activist, a comrade who, one way or the other, has been able to prove uh, how important he is in Nigeria today. Uh, he will soon join us, and we expect to hear a lot from Comrade SOWORE. As you know, he's having a lot of agenda, a lot of programs to attend to. He will be with us, and we shall be able to ask him our questions. And he will tell us his program, how he's going to deal with the current situation in Nigeria, how he's going to better the situation in Nigeria if uh, he eventually gets the seat as the next president of Nigeria, a Federal Republic of Nigeria. We shall be welcoming a presidential candidate, a comrade, a journalist too, Omoyele SOWORE, a human rights activist, the leader of, how do I say it, revolution now. I beg we have a little bit of patience while Omoyele SOWORE joins up. So, let's say it's trying to link up with us. I think the network is a little bit uh, Wow. That's is our patience for him is still joining up in the system there. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think you welcome to the program, Comrade Omoyele SOWORE.
Thank you very much.
Hearing me, sir?
I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Are you hearing me, sir?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you very much. We already have our. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Adeyinka.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. For those of you that are listening to us in Brazil, Nigeria, every part of the world, with me is Comrade Omoyele SOWORE. I call him a comrade.
There's a patience for him to join up. I'm here. I'm here. I can see you now. All right.
We are calling a comrade. We are comrades. And this is the second time he's speaking with us in Brazil. And I think we shall have the opportunity to ask him our questions too. You're welcome to this program, Comrade Omoyele SOWORE. I will, before I start asking you any questions, sir, I would like you to please say hello to Brazil. Are you hearing me, sir? Well, the network is bad again. Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, are you hearing me, sir? The network is bad.
I can hear you loud and clear.
I'm not seeing you, sir.
I can see you. I can hear you.
It's dark there. It's dark. We're not seeing you. The
Which they
audience
do
will not see
once
you,
in a
sir.
while. The government flags my network here in Abuja. So, but I hope you can see me. I can see you.
Yeah, you see me, but I'm not
I
seeing you.
can hear
We're not
you as
seeing you.
well. So, please, if we can.
We're not seeing you, sir. Hello?
Yes.
It's about that there. We're not seeing you. We're not. Do you want to go out and come in again?
Flagged. It's been flagged, I suspect. So, but let me change.
Yeah, now we can see you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. I think they're flagging my network. They do that once in a while. The government flags.
Oh, yeah, but we just see your picture here. I don't know if you. Anyway, uh, are you hearing me, sir? Wow, it's terrible. It's serious. Now I think it's better now.
All
Now
right.
it's better.
So
Better. Thank you
yeah,
very much. Yeah, so so that we will have to waste the time because of we already almost 20 minutes are late
late.
already. Yeah. Sorry, sir, Comrade Omoyele SOWORE, I rather use comrade because we are all comrades. We fighting for a better Nigeria, for a better place to live. And
Yes.
it's a pleasure having you with us in Brazil. I'll say Brazil because we're receiving you in Brazil. It's the second time in Brazil, and I'm sure you're going to have the time to speak with millions of Nigerians living in Brazil. You know, I'm already seeing people writing and applauding your efforts and saying you're going to make a better Nigeria. Sir, please say hello to Brazil. And how do if I should ask you, who is Omoyele SOWORE? But say hello to Brazil, say hello to the Yorubas in Brazil, the comrades in Brazil, the Nigerians in Brazil, everybody in Brazil. Then let us know who is Omoyele SOWORE before we move ahead, sir.
Well, thank you very much to um, everyone watching in Brazil, our brothers and sisters over there. When it comes to Brazil, it's not only Nigerians that are Africans in Brazil. I think apart from Nigeria, Brazil is host to the highest population of blacks in the world. So it's a very important place for us. It's a very important place for me. I have been to Brazil twice. I love it out there. And there's something Nigerian in Brazil that I really like. It is that Brazilians have this attitude that are like Nigerians. They live one day at a time and they love to have fun. But the difference is that they have a semblance of government. We don't. And each time I went to Brazil, I didn't want to come back. Uh, so thank you everyone in Brazil for watching, and I'll say obrigado. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now you thank you very much for saying thank you in Portuguese, the language we speak in Brazil. Anyway, we also speak Yoruba in Brazil. It's
I have found Yoruba
practically
books, a lot of Yoruba books written by Brazilians. I've
Brazilian. Oh,
been to Orisha shrines. I've seen Ifa priests in Brazil who are more committed than our own Ifa priests at home. They don't play with the Yoruba traditional religion in Brazil at all.
yeah. It's here in Brazil the 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 tradition is serious, even more than Nigeria. you know. So who is Omoyele SOWORE?
I'm a Nigerian who is 51 years old. I have been a little bit of everything, an activist starting from my student days. I've been a publisher, writer, publishing on the internet. I have done a little bit of work as a university lecturer for almost 8 years in the US. And right now, I'm a presidential aspirant, uh, planning and working hard to take Nigeria uh, back in 2023. So, my preoccupation right now, my career, my profession is how to save Nigeria. that's from the hands of the leaders of driving Nigeria backwards for 62 years, non-stop. So that's why I am.
Wow. So, my question is, do you still believe in Nigeria?
Yes, I believe in Nigeria as much as I believe in humanity. That there are human beings living here. They deserve better than they're getting. And whatever it is, my little understanding of the world is that there is not a country in the world that is not created by some people or brought into existence by some people, whether internal or external to their own existence. Brazil, where you live, uh, was created by some people, but the people of Brazil, black and white at the time, tried to re-engineer their own destiny, and it's still going on in Brazil today because blacks are still being discriminated against. I'm aware of it, but it hasn't stopped them from continuing to remake their own country to be a better place. So, not to prolong the question or my answer further, I still believe in Nigeria because of the humanity in it. 200 million people. So that's my answer.
Yeah. Uh, that's that's a good one, sir. So you contested for presidency the whole time as under ACC, if I'm very
AAC, the
correct.
African. Yes, yes,
AAC,
yes.
AAC, yeah. And you are still coming on the same platform now, sir. You
That's
are
correct.
an aspirant, if I'm very correct. So are
Just
you
told you that.
very sure now that you're going to come out as the candidate for AAC, or have you, or is it automatic, or is you going to have the normal preliminaries?
Primaries, yes. Last time we had a convention in front of everybody. Everybody. It was live streamed. We're one of the conventions that was live streamed at the time of a political party from the beginning to the end, and I was the candidate of the party. The party practices internal democracy. If there are others who are interested in participating in primaries, they are welcome, and we will slug it out during the primaries. I have said, I didn't tell you I'm a candidate. I am still an aspirant. So AAC is open for those who are interested in participating in the presidential election and other positions uh, in Nigeria come 2023.
That's very good, sir. Sir, like you said, you actually believe in Nigeria, just like uh, 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 we believe in Brazil. Like for the past 7 years now, if I'm not mistaken, we've been having problem of do I say security or insecurity in Nigeria. Uh, we've been going through a very serious Nigeria. That is a very serious Nigeria. A Nigeria of no hope. Uh, Now we've been looking, you know, we've been dangling, rather put that way, between PDP, APC, PDP, APC. Now you're coming with a new party. So do you think you're gonna make a change? You're gonna set to resolve the problem of hunger, insecurity, if you eventually become the president of Nigeria?
Yes, those problems you mentioned are problems that came with these political parties, APC and PDP, who are not different, by the way, not different. These are problems they brought upon Nigeria. They brought insecurity, which majorly the bigger part of insecurity started during the Niger Delta insurrection by Niger Delta militants. And after that, in 2009, the PDP led by, I think it was under the Yaradua cabal, so went shot and killed the leader of Boko Haram, largely then a peaceful organization that led to what you now have as a full-blown terrorism and banditry. So these parties, in addition to insecurity, they brought hunger, unemployment. The unemployment rate in Nigeria at this point is 19%. No, it's more than 15. They brought darkness. The PDP spent $16 billion to bring about darkness in Nigeria. They have added problem of a lot of children who are out of school. About 60 million of them is what they have now. They have destroyed the value of the Nigerian currency, naira. In addition to that, they have brought mass starvation and poverty to our people. And these two parties, like I said, are not different. About 2 weeks ago, when the APC had its convention, it was the members of the PDP that became their officials who officially were elected, the former members of PDP. And in Nigeria, you can go to sleep as a member of APC and wake up as a member of PDP. It is that bad. No principles, no ideology. So we are asking the Nigerian people to look elsewhere because these parties have failed and they can never bring about progress or development or prosperity to Nigeria and Nigerians. I was using an analogy, which was a true story a few weeks ago.
But sir, do you mean party or the individual in the party? You mean are you saying the party? Are you saying the party or
I'm referring to the parties because parties are made up of individuals. So all of them.
And you mean in PDP, APC, you can't find not even a good person?
Well, I assume that you've been doing this for a long time. Tell me one good person in any of those two parties. Tell me one.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
You can't.
No,
yes. None. We can't. If there was any good one, you would even have gladly and proudly produced and show me one. None. These guys have been immersed in corruption and the looting of the Nigerian treasury. They are not different. Whether you find them in the House of Assembly in the states, as local government chairmen, as members of Federal House of Representatives, as members of the Senate, as governors of the various states. Tell me one that's constructing roads, paying salaries, built hospitals, helped kids who are out of school. These guys are a bunch of selfish human beings who are only interested in helping themselves with their state treasure. They're just there sharing the national cake. And that is why Nigeria is where it is today. So, as I said, I don't need to go too far. When you want to check the performances of these parties, go and look at Nigeria today. Even you that's in Brazil, I'm sure you don't want to come to Nigeria anytime soon because you'll probably be too afraid to come home. Your children are not planning to come here for vacation or even visitation, even if it is going to be 2 days if they are born outside of the country. Our children or the children of the rich won't go to Nigerian universities. They have been closed down now for 51 days, public universities, over disagreements on how the university should be funded and lecturers should be well paid, right? As I'm talking to you, you have electricity we don't have. I'm using a generator to power my laptop, my phone, to be able to talk to you. That is what most households are doing in Nigeria, because Nigeria is barely generating 1,500 megawatts of electricity. Are you getting me? And just before I came on this show, the national grid has just collapsed again. That will be third time in 1 month that has collapsed. So what are we talking about? Somebody just asked, and I'll take that question, that will you amend the current constitution and implement true federalism? Yes, not only will I amend the constitution, we are making another constitution that will be made by the people. The current Nigerian constitution is a fraudulent document handed over to Nigerians in 1999. It was made by the military, for the military, not for the Nigerian people. Nigerians must see Nigeria during my tenure as a new Nigeria. It must be as if we are exiting apartheid and we want to enter into a new era. So the constitution that will define our engagement, interaction, and relationships at all levels of government must be brand new, and must have the contributions of all the federating units and pressure groups, and it must undergo a referendum to be called the constitution. We don't have that right now. So, and all this good school stuff, restructuring state police, control of resources, can be handled in such a constitution, and including something as simple as where you get your driver's license from. Is it the state, local government, or the federal? So these are things that the new constitution will address. So that's what I have to tell you regarding the political parties and the future of Nigeria as a federation.
So, but have you held any political position before? Have you? Don't you think you need to pass through the normal before getting there? Do you think you're gonna find it easy?
I have never asked for, partaken, or sought political position before, because I didn't want to undergo the training as a thief that you undergo when you go through the political process. All these incompetent, corrupt individuals in Nigeria are the people who underwent political training. And this is what they have done to Nigeria. They are very experienced in stealing, looting, assassination. They are experienced in using human beings as for ritual purposes, you know, uh, flipping contracts, and all kinds of fraudulent activities. That is what the people who went through political training are involved in. You don't need to be a political person. You don't need to be a partisan hack to fix a country. It is not that difficult. It's not rocket science. That is why I'm coming on a revolutionary platform, because everything in Nigeria needs to change right now. And there's no need to pretend about it, because we've reached the tip, we've reached the cliff. Any movement in any direction organized by these people, we are going to fall over the cliff, and that will be the end of Nigeria as we know it. But if we can be wise enough, understanding enough, and courageous enough to take a bold step and move away from this speed towards perdition, we will all be better for it. And you and I will be proud of our country. So there's no need to keep asking people, have you had political experience? The thing they call political experience here is despicable conduct. of terrible characters who loot, kill, and destroy.
So, you see, as we are talking, questions are rolling in. I don't know if you're accompanying questions that are rolling in. Somebody's asking if Nigerians can trust you. Can
Was that a
Nigerians
question?
trust you if you get there?
Yes. Well, to be able to answer that question adequately, you have to look at my pedigree. You have to read up about me. I started as a political activist when I was quite young, when I was uh, about, I would say, when I first got the national exposure was when I was 18 years old, when I became a freshman at the University of Lagos. So I was part of the team of young, old, middle class people, professionals that fought consistently for democracy. You understand? Democracy. And democracy came in 1999. I left the country, right? So after I left the country, I went to study. After I finished studying, I started a watchdog platform known as Sahara Reporters. Nobody doesn't know that it was a global platform. It is still a global platform today, well recognized across the world. So, what I'm trying to tell you is that just look at my background. You don't have to go too far before you understand who I am. And in looking at my background, you understand that I'm not the kind of person that will sell people out because I spent my entire life defending the poor, the deprived, uh, those who have been cheated, and have suffered for it. You know, before I left Nigeria in 1999, I was detained 8 different times in different detention centers, including when I went to do my NYC. I spent 20 years abroad, came back in 2018, 2017, 2018. In 2019, I was rearrested and detained again. I have since then been shot at. I've had my nose broken through torture. My younger brother was killed. And in the course of doing all these things, these are recent developments. They reached out to me that they want me to compromise myself. I refused, even though I was in detention. This happened at the DSS headquarters. So what do I need to tell you? I don't do deals. You can trust me. You can close your eyes if you have me as your president to defend your interests. That's what I do, and that's what I've always done my entire life.
So, another very important a question is, I'll be a bit blunt. Have you ever received bribe? Have you ever been bribed, or have you ever given bribe in Nigeria?
No, I've never received bribe and I've never given bribe in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. I know what you're trying to ask is a question somebody put on your comment section that I was bribed to run down Good Luck Jonathan. It's one of the lies
Yeah.
peddled around by the PDP people and people who lost out in 2015. Good Lord Jonathan would have loved to bribe me if I was receiving bribe. He bribed everybody that could be bribed in 2015 so that he could become president again. The cases are in court. He gave somebody 3 billion naira to go and hire prayer warriors from Saudi Arabia to pray for him to win election again. These cases are in court. They were bribing air, sea, and water. And I have been arrested, detained by the government. If I had such a record, they had all my bank accounts, they had my movements around the world. They even lied that I went to Dubai to collect money. When they found out I've never stepped on Dubai soil before, they quickly ran and withdrew the charge. You know, so these are not questions that are relevant to my kind of lifestyle.
But you've been,
If I collect
but you've
bribe,
been offered bribe.
would have found out. Say
But you've
that
been
again.
offered. You've been offered the bribe.
Oh yes, they offer me money every time, all the time. They
Can
came and
you can
offered
you
me money when I was
can you,
10.
can you mention
Jonathan
them?
offered.
Can you say their names?
I've mentioned names before. It's just that maybe you don't follow me. There was the time Jonathan sent a guy called Imani Boro to bring money to me in New York City. He has never denied it. When he became president, and when we became president at that time. So there's just nothing to tell you. They offer me bribe.
Jonathan
But if I've
sent
ever
money to
collected
you.
bribe from them, I've said it many times, not once. I don't know why you don't follow these things. They said when he was made president after Yaradua died, he was in DC. He sent somebody to come and give me money. I refused to see the person, and he said it was just to thank me for supporting him to become governor. I mean, president at that time. So all of them offer me money. If I collected a dime from them, trust me, you would have seen it splashed all over the place. They would have used it to shut me up. But I don't do that. I don't do deals, sir. No.
Wow, this is interesting. There's somebody asking you here if what's your opinion of Biafra nation and Oduduwa nation. You know, it's terrible.
I've
It's,
also answered this all the time. I am a supporter of self-determination. It should be part of the fundamental rights of citizens that if you're tired of a system, they can ask or opt out of that system if it's not favorable and doesn't deliver justice to them. And that's the reason why you see me go to Nnamdi Kanu's trial. And I've been there several times. Each time I went there, they brought a knife to attack me and they beat me up, they roughed me up. When the Oduduwa Nation activists were arrested, when they arrested them, when they tried to kill Sunday Igboho and brought them to Abuja, we were there to ensure that they get justice, even though they were dealing with almighty DSS. In fact, the DSS lawyers, agents, told their lawyer that Sowore is going to complicate their case because the moment they saw me in court, they knew they were in trouble. And eventually, those people were granted bail and they are free today. So if I don't believe in self-determination, I wouldn't have been risking my life to support these groups. But my own position about Nigeria is that justice can still keep Nigeria together. And as an Africanist, a Pan-Africanist, you know that the entire African continent is not even big enough for me to operate. So I would love to see a united Africa in which Nigeria is a major player in it. So it's not it's not just by accident that I'm saying that. I'm not saying it to impress anybody. That breaking up Nigeria will not solve Nigeria's problem of poverty, insecurity, because when you break up, you still have to deal with some of the elements who ruined the bigger or larger Nigeria. So let's deal with them first before you even contemplate breaking up Nigeria. And I'm sure that if Nigeria were to be well governed today, a lot of Nigerians would love to be in Nigeria, remain in Nigeria. You are in Brazil now. You're not a Brazilian, but you probably love it there because there's measure of justice and good governance in the place. I was in Brazil in 2002, and this is 2002. That's about 20 years now. I went for the World Social Forum, and I entered a public bus, and I discovered that anytime from 4 p.m. This was in Porto Alegre. Yes, yes. Anytime, yes, anytime that students come out of school and they enter these buses, they have television that is teaching students on their way to the house. They have like you know television based education inside buses. This was 2002. I mean 2002 in in Porto Alegre. So why is it that Brazil can do that for blacks and whites, and Nigeria cannot provide funding for universities, and the universities have to close down 3 months or 4 months a year. This is just crazy. It's crazy. And we should not be at the point where we are arguing about these mundane things, honestly. We should be, all of us should be upset right now. We should be in that, uh, mode where we are so upset that none of these characters would have even the courage or the temerity to come out and say you want to run and lead a country when you have been part of people who ruined the country.
So, comparing Brazil and Nigeria, I think if we should start that now, we're not gonna finish. Because I came
I
here
know we won't
several
finish,
years
but
back,
let
and
me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Nigeria was doing
yeah.
better than Brazil in 1970. Nigeria was doing better than Brazil in 1978 and 79. Nigeria's currency was stronger than that of Brazil in the 80s. So the difference is leadership. Look at what Lula did in Brazil. You know, how he did a lot of revolutionary things. Of course, I heard he was also involved in corruption, but I don't know how much of that is,
No,
conspiracy.
that has not been proven. That has not
Yes.
been
So
proven.
that's not even my issue.
He was
That's
jailed,
not even my issue. That's
and
not my issue.
he's been absolved,
Yeah, no, don't worry, don't worry. That's not even my issue.
absolved,
I'm
and
telling
still
you,
and coming back. Yeah.
I'm just telling you how Brazil was changed over a period of time that he was in power. And this again was a labor leader, an activist uh, of several years practicing activism in Brazil. So, but point is, leadership matters a lot. Without the right leaders, if you like, you can break Nigeria into every ethnic group, 250 countries. You still won't get it right.
So, you contested, I rather say, against Buhari the other time, and which Buhari emerged uh, as a winner. Soon after that, you launched Revolution Now.
Yes.
Uh, Sir, how would you explain? You know, I mean, I know you get what I'm trying to ask you. But you lost the election, then you came up with Revolution Now. Was it because you lost, the election was not favorable, or you did that because you contest against the, the 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 election, or what?
You know, maybe, like I said, you should probably do a little bit of research before we came on this show. It would have helped a little bit. But having said that, even during the election, our campaign was based on the revolutionary idea of changing Nigeria through what we call Spicer Heat. That's number one. That was our manifesto of the 10 or 11 points agenda of just fixing this country. Now, I will still have it available. You can watch all my speeches during that period. So many of them have come to pass now. And the second aspect of it is that the 2019 election was not an election, it was a selection. So we had a duty to repudiate that rape on the democratic process. So, and we knew way ahead of everybody that Nigeria was badly needed of a revolution. So the moment we dropped our election gauntlet, we started to preach that revolutionary uh, message to our people that only a revolutionary process can change Nigeria. And we stuck with it up to today. We're still doing revolution. We're still asking for a revolution. And it could be a revolution of the mind, of the head, the physical infrastructure, of health, of agriculture, of security, of power, against corruption, and technology. we made it very clear when I was contesting that we're here to disrupt the political process. So, and that disruption is still it's still ongoing. That's what we preached it today. That's why I'm still trapped in Abuja, asked to stay here by way of a court order, because they know that I have not renounced my revolutionary messages and traits. So nothing has changed. It was that after the election, and upon realizing what they did with the election, we knew that we need new set of thinking, citizens' uh, way of changing their mind. And part of that, don't forget this, part of that was what led to NSAS. Part of that was what led to NSAS. So the point to be made is that we want to see this country change forever, and we want it to change not at a pace that is in the interest of the people who ruined it, but at a pace faster than what they can even envisage. So that's my position, and nothing has changed. But just to be clear, we didn't call for a revolution because we lost election. I've been calling for a revolution uh, since my university days. You just need to go back and watch.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Some,
I was lucky to be of that time too. I was in Ife during the Mayegun, when Mayegun was the. Well, I don't know if
yes,
you.
President of Dance, National Association
Then
of
I was
Nigeria.
in Ife. Nance, yeah, I was in Ife then. So I was practically of St. Peter. Yeah, we were all comrades. Baba show it on, and
Yes, it's still very much around and progressive.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we had a nice time there actually. So now let's go down into the real thing. Uh, we have a very big problem in Nigeria: electricity. How do we going to solve that if you get there? It's a big
You
problem,
know,
a very big one.
I'm hearing that you say electricity is every problem in the hands of an incompetent person is a big problem. So if you like, huh, let it be that your trouser is torn and you give a needle to Buhari to fix it. It's a big problem because he doesn't know what he's doing. They don't understand the problems. They don't have solutions to them. As I'm speaking with you now, from what I heard, Buhari has moved to London again for another 20 days for medical treatment. And he just came back maybe a month ago or so. So
Oh,
every
very good.
problem, big problem in Nigeria. Insecurity is a big problem. Power is a big problem. Infrastructure is a big problem. Amechi just declared today to be president of Nigeria as well. And I commented on my Facebook page that you are the guy who went and brought all these locomotives from China that is faster, that is, sometimes slower than snail, such that every bandit can catch up with the train. Do you know that sometimes, I've never heard, it's not that sometimes, I've never really heard that terrorists can derail a moving train in this modern day because the rails are supposed to have sensors. There's supposed to be cameras everywhere watching how the rail is moving on. And if the rails are super fast, anyways, how can somebody relay a train? So that's just that part. Health is a big problem. Agriculture is a big problem. Employment is a big problem. The naira is a big problem. So in the hands of a competent set of people, every problem is huge. So but you are asking about electricity. And the second time I'm answering this question today, with getting electricity right is not rocket science because there's been a lot of improvement in technology in building electricity these days. And there's been a lot of you know, solutions, electrical solutions found around a mix of electrical sources. So I keep asking myself why you don't have solar farms in Nigeria that can produce electricity from the northern parts where there's plenty of sunshine, and we can just tap into that to power the entire north. What they tell you in Nigeria is that the only time there's a little bit of electricity is rainy season, because all of our dependence is almost in the hydroelectric power stations in Kanji Dam and Shiroro in Niger State. We're supposed to have some 2,000 megawatts of electricity out of Egbe near Epe, but we don't, because why? We don't have, we have no opportunity to fire gas into the place, because the people who are taking gas out of Nigeria prefer that they make money through that than to give it to the locals. It's not profit.
Oh, the network is bad again.
So it's usually typically surprising to me that we're still, but we've been at this situation of blackout since I was born. I was telling someone today on another show that electricity has not reached my village, and I'm 51 years old. And my village
Wow.
is just maybe some 20 kilometers from Ore in Ondo State. We have not had electricity since I was born. We still use jet. But they have the infrastructure. In fact, they have 2 power lines entering my village. So, but as I said, you have these people, what they're doing, who are in charge of your country. They don't understand the way electricity works. Egypt increased electrical wattage by over 24,000 megawatts, signing a contract with Siemens. Our own government signed a contract with Siemens 4 years ago or thereabout. They have not produced a single wattage of electricity. When Chimamanda Adichie asked the Chancellor of Germany if she was aware of it, she said, "Well, I'll go and check and get back to you." Because she was not aware of it. It was a corruption reading contract that the former Abakari, the late Abakari, organized himself. So these are things we must understand about how they are running Nigeria. And you just can't get over these problems. There's no amount of conversation we have here that will solve the problem. We talk every day without changing the source of the problem, and that is these corrupt, incompetent, and wicked Nigerian leaders. So, just so that you know that, and I should report though that my stay on your show is going to elapse very soon. I have another show coming up soon, and in
Yeah,
between,
I can see. I can see you have you've
I
been
posted,
you've
that on
been
Facebook. But
uh,
I have
uh,
meetings, I have some
you've
little
been
meetings in between as well.
you've been I know. I can see you. I follow your programs actually. I know you had one this morning. You're gonna have another one again. That's it.
Yes,
Sir,
PM.
you've been. Are you hearing me? Good, good, good.
I'm hearing you
Yeah,
loud and
I
clear.
know we can. Some are even asking to call in to. Yeah, okay. Some are even asking
You
to
always
call
have
in
me come back to your show. There's no problem. I wish we
to see
started on
everything.
time. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but this time we started late. I think we're still gonna make another provision. But you
Yes.
still have to speak with us even in Yoruba. We don't even know if we don't even know if you're a Yoruba man, because recently you've been with the Igbo red cap and you know you are
Well,
Nigerian and like here
I,
in Brazil we
I don't I don't play the ethnicity game. Honestly, I don't. I'm a human being, and that's what I tell people. And I hate injustice, whether it is done to Igbo, Yoruba, or Efik or Ibibio, whether it's done to a Brazilian or it's done to uh, an Ukrainian or a Russian or a Palestinian. I don't care. I just believe in justice. Justice is my religion. And so, but the truth is that I'm a Yoruba person because my great grandfathers came all the way from Elisha, passed through Jebu, and they went to live and settle down in Ondo State. So that turned me, their location then led us to become part of what is now known as Ijo Apoy in Ondo State because they lived there for long, that they intermarried, and our location, geolocation, is referred to as Ijo, and it's Niger Delta part of Nigeria. But I don't speak a word of Ijo. I speak Yoruba, but I cannot tell you that my Yoruba is that's good, even though I'll be having a Yoruba program next Saturday uh, with an Osun State radio station. So it's a struggle because, and we should be ashamed of it, that we don't speak our own language fluently as we should and don't reason the way we should reason culturally. There's nothing to be proud of to say that, oh, I speak English better than I speak Yoruba. It's rubbish. So, but just so that I will satisfy your request for my Yoruba,
Yeah,
my
just for
Yoruba, Yorubaness. So ask your Yoruba question. I will answer it and we can call it a day. Ask your question in Yoruba. I
yeah,
will answer
no,
it.
I've you know, this is Brazil, where we actually promote the Yoruba culture, the Yoruba tradition, and Yoruba religion. You know, so we do as much as possible so that our Brazilian people can also follow uh, 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 the interview. So just before we move ahead, or you know, I know you have other things to do.
Yes.
Please just define. I'm going to mention three Nigerians. Please define them. Buhari,
Oh man.
Jagaban,
Yes.
Atiku.
You know, every country
Just
has a
define
present.
them. Just
Yeah.
define them.
Every country has a present and a past and a future. These are men of the past who have been a big disappointment to Nigerians. And I know history would never forgive them for the role they play in dragging this country down and putting it where it is today. That's all I can say. And I'm judging all of them as one because they are one and the same in character,
Wow.
color, and conduct. Very selfish people.
So now define. Now, uh, 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 please, I just want to say something. You know, uh, I know you are a nationalist. I put that way, a Pan Africanist. Please, how would you describe uh, Professor Akintoye?
Well, I know Baba a little bit. Uh, I knew him in the US before he returned to Nigeria. I know he was a senator, I think, in the Second Republic. And he's an old man who is now leading the charge for a new Yoruba nation. And I respect his position on issues, but we are not that close. In fact, I will disclose this on your show. When my brother was killed, he called me and he said one of the worst things to me that everybody could have said to somebody who lost his brother. He said, "Ṣebí o ti rí nsìn, wọ́n ṣáà ti pa àbúrò ẹ̀, ṣojú ẹ̀ á mọ́." And I said, "Why is Baba talking like this?" You know, that was very inhuman what he said to me, and I can never forget. But that does not make me not respect his position in a matter of where he believes that the Yoruba nation should go. But I don't think he should have said that to me fresh when my brother was killed. That ṣebí o ti rí nísìnyí, ojú ẹ̀ ti mọ́ pé wọ́n ti pa àbúrò ẹ̀, because people get killed everywhere. Yorubas kill Yoruba, Hausas kill Yoruba, some Yorubas kill Hausas, Fulanis kill people. All of it boils down to leadership. I wanted to tell him that, Baba, you shouldn't have said this, but it's very despicable that you have to choose these days. But I think it is because of what has been going on in their mind that they felt that they can define for me how to fight my own struggles. But I'm also fairly old enough to determine for myself what is best for me in terms of the struggles that I undertake in life. So you've heard more than you asked now. So
Thank you very much. I'll be sincere with you. You've been able to convince a lot of listeners, because actually the area of bribery, principally, but the thing going around is uh, Sowore has been paid to do this, he paid to do that, he got money to do this, he got money to do that. Now you've been able to say it publicly that even Jonathan sent somebody to bribe you, of which you didn't accept. That is
I've said it several times and they've never denied it. He's never denied it. The person I mentioned never denied it, and Jonathan never denied it. It is true. It's not only one time. We tried it several times. But, it comes with the territory of the work we do. People will try and bribe you. If you don't accept it, then you become a bad person. But one thing you can't hear them say is that I ever sat down with them, I collected money from them for any reason. Even legitimate advert money for elections, I did not accept and still do not accept. I do not accept Sahara, which is a platform I created, does not accept government adverts. And if I was accepting government adverts, you can imagine I'll be making a lot of money. So, but the good thing about me is that I'm very comfortable with my poverty. And I think that's why I've lasted a little bit, as long as I've lasted with my integrity intact. So, permission to get
sir,
out
you
of here
see,
so that I can
just
go at
just one before you go, sir. Just one. Just one before you go. Please, I would like you to uh once again greet the Nigerians in Brazil, please.
Thank you.
And promise us, promise us you're gonna come again to speak with us. Well, today you started
Definitely.
late.
Yes. Thank you
you
very
know,
much. Thank you, our brothers and sisters in Brazil, both those who are Nigerians and those who are our brothers and sisters, blacks in Brazil. You should know that the moment Nigerians get it right, uh, there will be an uplifting of the integrity of blacks in the world. Part of the reason why we are not treated well as blacks is because a lot of black nations or majority black nations, like Nigeria in particular, is not doing right. I can imagine how many of them would have relocated to Nigeria if Nigeria was doing very well, because Brazil, unfortunately, is not a paradise for blacks. I've been there and seen Brazilian police uh, asked that the black visitor who came to visit me could not enter my hotel room because we're black in Sao Paulo. So I have experienced that racism before. And all blacks are looking for a space where they can find respect, honor, and dignity. And we promise that when I become president, Nigeria will be that place for you. So don't feel unconcerned as well. Even if you may not be able to vote, try and support this man speaking to you today. Once again, obrigado.
thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. And we hope that those of us in diaspora can also vote as time goes on. But right
Sadly,
now,
you can't now. You have to come home to vote, but you can always mobilize people at home to vote. If you work hard on them, they will listen to you. they will.
Thank you very much, Comrade SOWORE. This is a message from a comrade to a comrade. Let me put it that way.
Thank you, Adeyinka. Let's stay in touch.
Thank you very much. You promise to come again? You promise to
Absolutely.
speak with us again in Brazil?
Anytime.
You are part of us. Thank you
Anytime.
very much. And to my viewers, those of you listening to us, that's SOWORE for you. We hope to receive him again in our program, Revolution Now. That is SOWORE. I have to thank every one of you. I have to thank my viewers. I have to thank Olodumare. I have to thank the God who has made today possible. Once again, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Olódùmarè o, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ akọ́dá, aṣẹ̀dá, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó láyé o, ẹjọ́ máa jú wá ṣe o, èmi náà kọ́ o, iṣẹ́ yín ni mo ń ṣe o. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I thank my colleagues in Brazil, my colleagues in Nigeria, and around the world. Till next time, this is Adeyinka Olaiya once again. Thank you very much. Bye.